If you woke up this morning and saw headlines about a new immigration law that just passed, and you're a green card holder, wondering if your status is suddenly at risk, I want you to take a breath right now. I'm going to walk you through exactly what actually happened, what it means for you personally, and most importantly, what you need to do next. This is not speculation. This is not social media panic. This is the real story straight from the source. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand. Stay with me. Welcome back to U.S. Immigration Update, where we break down the noise and deliver facts. If you're new here, please subscribe so you don't miss critical updates that actually affect your immigration status and your family's future. Let me start by being completely transparent about what I'm addressing today. There are moments when immigration news spreads across social media, news outlets, and family group chats with such speed and intensity that people panic without knowing what they're actually dealing with. A bill passes, a proposal is discussed, a policy change is announced, and suddenly, everyone believes their green card is in jeopardy. Today, I'm going to help you separate what's real, what's rumor, what's proposed, and what's actually law. Right now, in this moment that affects your life, immigration law in the United States does not work like a light switch. You don't wake up one morning and find that everything changed overnight. Major immigration laws go through a lengthy process. A bill must be introduced in Congress. It goes through committee hearings. Its debated amendments are proposed. It passes one chamber, then another. The president signs it or in some cases vetoes it. And even after all of that, many immigration laws include delayed implementation dates, often months or even years after they're signed into law. Understanding this timeline is absolutely critical to understanding what you should worry about and what you shouldn't now. Let me be clear about something else before we go deeper. I am providing general information about immigration law and policy. I am not your immigration attorney. If you have specific concerns about your own situation, your status, your employment, your family situation, or any pending applications or petitions, you must speak with a licensed immigration attorney. What I'm doing here is helping you understand the landscape so you can have informed conversations with your legal team and make smart decisions for your family. So what actually happened today or recently that triggered the headlines you're seeing? Let me walk you through the different scenarios, because depending on when you're watching this, different things may be in the news cycle. If a bill passed the House of Representatives, that's significant, but it's not law yet. It still needs to pass the Senate. If it passed the Senate, it still needs the president's signature. If it's been signed into law, we then need to understand what it actually does, when it takes effect, and who it actually applies to. Each of these stages is different and each one matters. When people say a new immigration law passed today, they sometimes mean different things. They might mean a bill was introduced. They might mean it passed committee. They might mean it passed one chamber of Congress. They might mean it passed both chambers and is awaiting the president's signature. Or they might mean it's been signed and is now law. The news media often conflates these, and that's where the panic begins. Green card holders, also called lawful permanent residents, have significant protections under U.S. law. These protections didn't just appear yesterday. They've been built into immigration law over decades. You have the right to live and work permanently in the United States. You have the right to travel internationally and return. You have protections against deportation that are stronger than many people realize. You can apply for citizenship after you meet the required time periods. And perhaps most importantly, you have due process rights that require government authorities to follow specific legal procedures before anything happens to your status. Now here's what's important to understand about recent legislative activity. Congress has been actively debating immigration reform. There are proposals on the table. Some of these proposals would affect future green card eligibility. Some might affect family-based immigration. Some might affect employment-based immigration. Some might affect asylum and refugee programs. But here's the key phrase. These are proposals. They are being discussed. They are not yet law, and if they do become law, they would almost certainly include implementation dates, meaning they wouldn't affect green card holders who have already adjusted to permanent resident status. I want to address something very specific for green card holders who are worried about their current status. Becoming a lawful permanent resident is a major event in your immigration journey. Once you have your green card, you have already cleared immigration security vetting. You have already been approved for permanent residence in the United States. The government has already decided you are admissible, short of criminal conviction, serious fraud in your green card application, or other extraordinary circumstances. Your green card status is protected. What's being debated in Congress right now is largely about what happens going forward. Who gets to become a green card holder in the future? What are the requirements? What are the wait times? How much emphasis do we place on family reunification versus employment needs versus diversity and immigration? These are legitimate policy questions that reasonable people disagree about. But these discussions do not retroactively cancel green cards that have already been issued. Let me break down the different categories of recent immigration proposals you might be hearing about, so you can evaluate what's actually relevant to you first. There are proposals about asylum and border security. These focus on people who are trying to enter the country illegally or requesting asylum at the border. These do not affect people who already have green cards. Second, there are proposals about employment-based immigration, including visa programs like H-1B visas and employment-based green cards. If you already have a green card, these discussions don't change your status, though they might affect your family members who are trying to immigrate based on employment. Third, there are proposals about family-based immigration, including sponsorship requirements and waiting periods. Again, if you're already a green card holder, your status is secure. But these might affect relatives trying to immigrate to join you. Fourth, there are proposals about skill requirements, education levels, or income thresholds. These generally apply to future immigrants, not people already in the country with permanent resident status. The people who have the most reason to pay attention to legislative changes are those who are currently in visa status, those with pending applications, those with approved petitions, waiting for visa availability, and those considering immigrating to the United States. In the future, if you fall into any of those categories, legislative changes matter to you, and you should stay informed and consult with an immigration attorney. But if you already have a green card in your hand, you have passed through the gate, and that gate does not reopen to take away what you've already earned. That said, I do want to address some specific scenarios where green card holders should remain informed and cautious. First, if you have criminal convictions, particularly felonies or crimes of moral turpitude, your status could be vulnerable, regardless of when you got your green card. This is not new. This has always been true. If you're in this situation, you absolutely need to speak with an immigration attorney immediately. Second, if you obtained your green card through fraud, if information you provided was false, or if you misrepresented material facts, you could be at risk. Again, this is not new. This is how the law has always worked. Third, if you've spent extended time outside the United States, more than 6 months at a time, or if you've been outside for more than 2 years total, without advanced permission, you might have abandoned your permanent resident status. This is something to discuss with an attorney. Fourth, if you're considering sponsoring family members to immigrate, or if you're thinking about traveling, you should understand how current law and any pending changes might affect your plans now. Let me address this specific concern about green card cancellation or revocation, because this is a fear I hear frequently. The process for removing someone's green card is called deportation, or removal, and it requires a hearing in immigration court. You have the right to an attorney, though you don't have the right to a government-provided attorney in immigration cases. You have the right to present evidence. You have the right to appeal. This process exists in law now, and it won't change overnight. Your green card is not at risk because a bill was introduced in Congress. It's not at risk because politicians are debating immigration policy. It's only at risk if you've committed a crime, committed fraud, or otherwise violated the terms of your status. Let me talk about what you should actually do right now. If you're concerned about recent immigration news, first rely on official government sources. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USC has a website. The Department of Justice Immigration Court website has information. The State Department has immigration information. These are authoritative sources. Second, if you're a green card holder and you have any concerns whatsoever about your status, your travel, your work authorization, or anything related to immigration, schedule a consultation with a licensed immigration attorney. This is not expensive and it's worth the peace of mind. Third, do not react to social media posts or chain messages in family group chats. Do not assume something is true because someone said it's true. Verify information through official channels. I also want to address the question of whether green card holders should take any immediate action based on recent legislative news. In almost all cases, the answer is no. You don't need to file anything. You don't need to pay any fees. You don't need to update your information unless something in your actual life has changed. What you do need to do is keep your address current. With USCIS, if you move, you should update your information. You should keep your green card valid and renew it. If necessary, you should maintain lawful permanent resident status by not committing crimes and not abandoning your residence in the United States. Beyond that, you should monitor official government sources for information that directly affects you personally. Let me talk about the practical scenario that might be making you most anxious. You are a green card holder. You have built a life here. You have a job, maybe a home, maybe family members who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents. You're thinking about becoming a citizen, or maybe you're not sure about citizenship, but you're comfortable with your green card status, and you see a headline that makes you worried. You might lose it all. Here's what I want you to know. Immigration law changes happen. They do happen, but they happen slowly, and they happen with protection for people who are already in the system. When Congress passes immigration reform, they include transition provisions. They include grandfather clauses. They have effective dates that are years in the future. They don't suddenly revoke existing green cards. That's not how American law works. The government has to follow due process. The courts will interpret any new law, and the protections you have as a permanent resident are substantial now. Is there anything changing about who can become a green card holder? In the future, probably yes, eventually. Congress is actively debating this. Different administrations have different priorities, but that's about future immigration policy. That's not about you. You have already adjusted to permanent resident status. You have already won the immigration. You're already here. Let me address one more category of concern that I hear from green card holders, and that's related to family immigration. If you're planning to sponsor relatives to come to the United States, or if you're supporting family members who are in the immigration process, you should understand that legislative proposals might affect them. But even if a bill passes tomorrow that changes family immigration policy, it would likely not affect petitions that are already pending. It would likely not affect family members who have already started the process. It would affect new petitions going forward. The immigration system tries to honor good faith applications that are filed under the rules that existed when they were filed. I want to circle back to something I said at the very beginning because it's that important. Immigration law does not change overnight. Even when a president takes office and makes changes to immigration policy through executive authority. Those changes take time to implement. Agencies have to write regulations. Courts might challenge new policies. There are procedures that have to be followed. Immigration is complex, and that complexity, actually, works in favor of people who already have status, because it means whatever is changing takes time to change. If you're a green card holder, your status is one of the most secure statuses. In immigration law, you have legal permanent resident status. You have work authorization. You have the right to live, work and study in the United States. You have the right to sponsor family members, though the rules for that might change. You have the right to apply for citizenship, and you have comprehensive legal protections. You are protected by law in a way that people here on temporary visas are not. So what should green card holders do? In response to the headlines they're seeing about new immigration laws, stay informed, subscribe to official government sources. For actual information, consult with an immigration attorney. If you have any personal concerns, keep your information current with USCIS and do not panic based on rumors or incomplete information. If you've recently received your green card, congratulations, you've reached a significant milestone in your immigration journey. If you're considering applying for citizenship, you should know that now might be a good time to explore that, because citizenship status is even more secure than green card status. But that's a decision for you to make with your immigration attorney based on your personal situation. If you're an employer sponsoring employees and you're concerned about employment-based immigration policy, you should consult with an immigration attorney who specializes in employment-based immigration. If you're a family member trying to reunite with relatives in the United States, you should understand that the process might be changing, and you should consult with an attorney about your specific situation. Here's the bottom line: new immigration proposals and laws are discussed regularly in Congress. Some of them are serious, some of them go nowhere, and some of them eventually become law. But if you have a green card, you have status, you have protection, you have due process rights, you have an immigration status that is fundamentally different and more secure than temporary visa status. Do not let headlines panic you into making hasty decisions. Do not let rumors change your plans without verified information, and do not assume that something you read on social media applies to your personal situation without confirming it through official channels. The goal of U.S. Immigration Update is to help you understand immigration law as it actually exists, to help you separate fact from speculation, to help you avoid panic, and to help you make smart decisions for yourself and your family. If you're a green card holder and you have concerns, I encourage you to speak with a licensed immigration attorney. If you're considering immigration to the United States, I encourage you to educate yourself about current law and how it applies to your situation. And I encourage you to rely on official government sources, licensed immigration attorneys, and trustworthy information sources like this channel. Please subscribe to U.S. Immigration Update so you receive accurate information about immigration, law, and policy. Please share this video with anyone in your life who might be panicking about their immigration status. Based on recent headlines, share accurate information. Help your friends and family members understand the difference between rumors, proposed legislation, and actual law. And please leave a comment below with any questions you have about green card status, current immigration law, or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. We read every comment and your questions. Help us create content that matters to you and your community. Your immigration status matters. Your future matters, and you deserve accurate, trustworthy information. That's what we're here to provide. Thank you for watching us Immigration Update.